Welcome to Leading Thoughts from LeadingAge New Jersey. I'm Michelle Kent, President and CEO of LeadingAge New Jersey. We advocate for and represent mission-driven nonprofit facilities serving seniors across the state. This webcast is being taped in beautiful Atlantic City as part of our annual exhibition and conference, and we are delighted to be at Bally's Hotel. My guests today are Keith Lawrence and Alan Spector, who, among other things, are authors of the book, Your Retirement Quest, 10 Secrets for Creating and Living a Fulfilling Retirement. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, here's the thing. I thought retirement was supposed to be a lot of fun, and now you're saying we have to plan and work, and you sound like you're taking the fun out of it all for us.
Well, retirement is phenomenal, but it is by far the biggest challenge and biggest transition we're ever going to face. And unfortunately, because people don't plan, that's when there's a lot of risks involved. So, and it can be a lot of fun planning your retirement, but you need to spend some time doing it, Michelle.
Yeah, I was fascinated to read in your book that people plan more for a 2-week vacation often than they do for their retirement. And that resultantly, often the first year of retirement is a huge disappointment. So what are the key points you'd like to tell us, or perhaps the key mistakes people make in thinking through retirement?
Well, there are a number that we've run into, but one of the big issues is that couples tend not to speak with each other about their planning and get surprised after retirement that they really aren't aligned on what that retirement is going to look like. So we recommend to people that they have the crucial conversations before they actually retire. And don't make that mistake along the way.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer, but apparently not. Huh?
Not.
Yeah.
Very small percentage of couples actually have that conversation that gets to a point where they're aligned on what they want to do.
So Keith, tell me about the financial. I know finances are important, but to many of us, it's all we think about. That planning for retirement means planning to have the financial wherewithal to retire. But in fact, it's much beyond that, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, there's typically the two questions that people ask when they're thinking about retirement. Do I have enough money?
Right.
And have I had enough? Of whatever I've been doing. So this has been great, but it's time to give it up. But we have found that there are two other questions that are even more important. Is, will I have enough to do? Because we find so many people retiring from something, not to something. And if they just sit around and not have a plan, that's when all the risk factors. And then last is, do you have someone around, to Alan's point, that wants you around more often? Because if you don't have those crucial conversations, you don't have a line on a plan, that's when the spouse says, I married you for sickness and health, but not for lunch every day.
It's frankly, I'm laughing, but some of it is very sad when you think how the suicide rate for men over 70 is the highest cohort, I believe, in this country. And also how much time retirees can tend to spend in front of a TV set, and behaviors that really are not optimizing their retirement time.
Absolutely, and the opportunity is to get ahead of that. We always suggest to people that, just like financial planning, if you can start on the early side, well before you retire, put your plan together and actually practice retirement.
Wow.
Try some of the things that you think you're going to want to do in the future. And if they don't work out, great, you can change your plan before you retire. And in the very worst, what you've done is you've brought all these wonderful things into your life early. So
great, yeah. From what I read in your book, retirement really should be an organic process. It's not a fixed thing that you've made a plan and then you just go follow it. That you're always adjusting and tweaking and seeing what works best for you as you go forward. And retirement, I think another key problem is people think that means not working, when in fact it means working at something else or working less or differently. Or...
Yeah. Well, again, 25% of people will work till they die. And that's great, assuming you are loving what you're doing. We've seen many people that don't. But even when you retire or graduate, for example,
right,
you may choose to do something, again, that takes all of your strengths and your passions and where there's a need, and have a magical next S-curve in your life. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. The volunteer rate is very, very low in our country. As we mentioned, the average retiree watches 43 hours of TV a week. So they're not taking advantage of renewing their plan, and they get caught in a very narrow comfort zone of life. And that's when, they're not living the best years of their life, which is our ultimate success criteria.
And in fact, there's been research done that says that if you go from full work to full stop, on average, you will not have as successful or happy a retirement as going from full work to winding down.
A graduated approach,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that would make sense. And then I think one of the components that at every phase of life, but perhaps even more so in retirement, is really looking for your life purpose and mission as your life cycle is going into its final chapters, right?
Absolutely. We have a very simple question we ask people if they don't have their life purpose. It's if you're 85 years old and someday your grandchild comes up in your nap and they look up into your face and they say, Grandma, what was your life all about? And how would you respond with a sentence that they could understand?
Wow, that's a great...
And we find that most people can't answer that question. It was defined by their job or the role that they played. But having that higher order purpose can be a North Star as you figure out the rest of your life.
I think that's a great point to end with, that we always need to get back to the core of who we are and try to grapple with that.
Absolutely.
And for that, I thank you for bringing this to us. And
Thank you.
For all of your work on behalf of all of us who are hoping someday to retire, whatever that means or will look like. I'm
You're having too much fun what you're doing.
Anyway, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Michelle Kent, again, Leading Age New Jersey. Please join us for these webcasts and check out our website, www.leadingagenj.org, or follow us at Twitter, Leading Age NJ. And thank you so much for being a part of this.